Hey there! Did you know Kroger always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower-than-low prices? And when you download the Kroger app, you'll enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. And don't forget fuel points to help you save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Want to save even more? With a Boost membership, you'll get double fuel points and free delivery. So shop and save big at Kroger today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
So we went in through a gate, and it's like surrounded by buildings, so you can't get out anywhere. And we looked around, all the bars were closed. We were like, okay, let's just bail on this whole thing. This was the worst. And as we went to leave, the gate had locked.
Hello and welcome back to Single Sounds. I'm your host, Katie Mack, and I am the host and creator of this dating podcast that helps you listeners find a date. I interview singles and you can write in if you like the sound of them. And this is episode 101 and it is a single male. Thank you so much for your support on the 100th episode. I had so many responses to it and I'm glad you all liked my attempt. It's very fun and I hope I can update you soon on the outcome of that. Exciting. Also, thank you so much to everyone who's got their tickets for the Valentine's live show. I am hosting a Valentine's event in collaboration with the Ministry, which is the Ministry of Sound's members club. We're hosting a really big event. Expect a free drink with your ticket, some really cool DJs for the afters, and professional comedians, a sexpert, which I'm looking forward to telling you more about. So yeah, keep up to date with all the live show updates on here every week and on social media. And you can get your tickets in the show notes below this episode or on my social media. The Instagram is @SingleSounds or the TikTok handle is Single Sounds Podcast. This week's guest is targeting this episode at all genders. And he is definitely on the side of guests that I've had on this podcast that have been so easy and enjoyable to chat to. We came up with some really creative ideas on this podcast and I think how open-minded he is really aided that. We came up with a new paid feature for the dating apps and a new dating reality TV show idea. So yeah, I think if you're looking for an interesting conversation for your next date, this is the guy for you. He's had the most interesting life of probably anyone I've ever met, especially considering he's still under 30. He's very open and honest also about his toxic traits. He gives 3, which, I can relate to, as I think I gave 4. And he isn't shy of giving too much information, but I think is very self-aware. Also, you get a bonus voice note in this episode, which I'm excited for you guys to hear. I'm not in the bestie rec for another section of the podcast, so very creative and yeah, just 10 out of 10 enjoyable. Hello, welcome to Single Sounds.
Hello. We have just started talking, and this is the beginning of our conversation. Hi, Katie.
Hello. Not even in my flat for, half an hour?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with your profile. Who,
Okay.
what, where. First question, who are you sexually attracted to?
So this is, I know it's supposed to be the easiest question, but it's arguably the most difficult question. It shouldn't be this way, but it is. I still don't really know.
That's okay.
I don't know. I'm open to anything. Like, we can get a bit deeper into it. It's kind of like...
I feel like it does need a bit more.
It needs a bit more. Yeah, I guess I grew up thinking I was gay.
Okay.
It still feels weird to me saying I grew up thinking I was gay because for so long I've identified as gay. And then I came out quite late. Like, it was a big thing for me that I was really holding on to, and it was like a cause of a lot of suffering, and it wasn't good.
Oh.
It was very bad. It was a very formative part of me. And then I came out after uni, and then like kind of exploring that for a little while and just feeling like still not that connected to it. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, I largely felt like I just hadn't explored enough or like tried enough and like got over my original internalized homophobia and fears and stuff. But now I'm just feeling like, well, I don't fucking actually know. It just doesn't feel all that natural to be with guys.
Right.
And I still feel like attracted to girls.
Okay.
And I always thought I was just attracted to girls because I'd conditioned myself to be attracted to girls because I was in the closet for so long.
I could see how that would work. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're thinking like, oh no, I only think that because I've told myself that's
Exactly.
what I should find attractive.
And that's what the whole world is telling you to find attractive.
But you think actually now you probably do both, which
Yeah,
is
and now I'm
fine.
Yeah, I guess maybe both. Maybe both.
Maybe both.
And things in between as well. I'm open to things in between. Like, I just don't really...
People who don't identify as
Yeah,
either.
exactly. Like, yeah, I guess I don't really
Non-binary.
I don't fuck with gender
Yeah.
that much. Even though I'm quite a cis male.
Is that pansexual?
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
It has a bit of a strange quality to that word, though, pansexual. Like, it
Yeah.
people think it's, like, kind of cringy.
Personality based, isn't it?
Yeah.
Supposed to be.
Yeah. It's just...
So that you're more attracted to the person rather than their gender.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that then fits with you would date someone non-binary because you don't look at gender.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't really know.
Because like I think that's why people don't like the term bisexual, but it's still binary.
Yeah, exactly. Although some bisexual people tend to think of the word as self and other. I think that's a bit of a cop-out, though.
Oh.
Yeah, people are like, I'm attracted to my own gender and all other genders, but you might as well just use bisexual to mean men and women and pansexual to mean everything, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I didn't know that some people find pansexual cringy. I just assumed most people didn't know what it meant.
I think I have internalized pansexual
like
phobia now. I've gone from internalized homophobia to
be fair,
I just hate whatever I am.
You don't need a label.
No, you don't need a label, but it does help.
Yeah, I can imagine that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
But like,
when you're dating, someone's going to ask, right?
Yeah. I feel like I need to say more, but I don't really know what it is. I like feminine women.
Okay.
I guess like in terms of men.
Yeah.
I don't like men to be like so fucking manly.
Yeah.
I also don't like men to be too feminine.
Right.
I don't like camp guys.
Okay.
Is this good content?
Yeah, I mean...
Should I be this specific?
Yeah. Well, no, now we're just moving into the what you're looking for as well.
Oh, okay.
So it all links.
Sure, okay. Not too butch and hairy a guy.
Yeah, not
too camp
super
a guy.
alpha male.
I don't necessarily like a butch woman. I to be honest, I think I like normal gendered people.
Yeah, maybe just like in the middle.
It's such
does that exist?
I'm so sorry to anybody listening. This is such a mess. But we'll figure it out, Date me, I'll get more clarity. We'll work on it together.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, you might just be perfect. Who knows?
I still think that was helpful then.
Okay.
Yeah, so what are you looking for? That's quite tricky then.
It is
with
extremely
high
tricky.
age.
Should we just give up?
What about a serious relationship? We can definitely answer that bit.
Yeah. Although, yes, I would like a serious... I really like the idea of a relationship.
A committed
serious relationship.
There you go.
Having said that, though, like more casual things helps me understand.
Yeah.
Helps me understand what I want. More experience.
High age. Can we do that?
I don't want anybody to be too much taller than me.
Yeah.
No matter what kind of gender identity they are. Because I feel insecure about myself. I'm like, I think I'm 5'10" at a push. I'm 5'10" if I'm like lying slightly, which is I think what most people do.
Yeah.
So like not too much tall. Like don't be over 6 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll freak me out.
Yeah. I'll be scared. That's funny.
Okay, so that's height.
High age.
Age. Well, I'm 28, so I guess as young as 24, I guess.
Yeah.
That seems okay to me.
That makes sense.
And I guess as old as 35. That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. This one's easier.
Okay. Are you
Well,
sure?
I think so. Maybe not. This is when you're going to tell me you're going to go move country or something. It's going to be like, where would you like to date?
Oh, okay. No, yeah, London.
Okay,
for sure.
that's
yeah.
easy.
Within the M25. Nice, clear geographical boundaries.
Yeah.
I'm in Dalston in East London, so like obviously nearer the better. There should be enough fucking people in the area, right? I don't need to go
Oh,
to...
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Sure.
You'd hope so. I always hope that about our city. I'm like, there's got to be someone here for everyone. Let's move on to the 3 A's of acceptance, adventure, and affection. We're going to start with acceptance. What is your worst or most toxic trait?
Okay. Well, there is a lot to choose from here, I would say.
It's fair.
We could do a whole podcast on this.
I literally had a lot on my list. It's fine.
Yeah. I'd like to think it's maybe just because I'm more self-aware than most people. That's why I have so many toxic traits, and not because I'm just like an evil person. It might be a combination of both.
Hit me.
Yeah, worst toxic traits. Yeah, I don't know what to choose from here, so I guess I'll give you a few. Like, I do think this is a positive in a lot of ways. I don't want to answer this like it's an interview question.
Yeah, like my biggest weakness is being on time.
I don't want to do that, but I do also genuinely believe that most, like, I don't fully believe in toxicity in and of itself.
Okay.
Like, everything's like, you know, we develop
anything could become toxic.
Well, it's also we develop defensive patterns in, like, out of self-love, I believe. Like, the reason why we have lots of toxic traits, or they're just like coping mechanisms, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess I don't take what people say at face value a lot. People find that really annoying.
Okay.
I'm like very like, if someone gives me like a cool fact.
Critical.
Yeah, I'm quite critical.
I get that.
They're like, oh, did you know that whales are only like actually alive for a month? You know, I mean, that one's pretty obvious.
That's very not true, yeah, but okay.
Yeah. But like, someone gives me a cool fact and I'm like, I guess that could be true. Maybe. And it kind of ruins the satisfaction.
Or you go like, look it up.
Yeah.
Oh, I see, but
like,
you don't just give them the gratification.
I don't, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, that's amazing. You're like, we'll see about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll come back to you with excitement once I fact checked it.
Like, whoa. Yeah. Like 2 months later, after reading a whole book on it. Like, yeah, it was relatively true. Yeah. There's more nuance to be had, but it was relatively true.
That's
good
so
one.
True. You'd end up being like, well, only in certain cases, but yeah, you got it. Kind of 60% true.
Yeah. Which isn't that satisfying for people. And I guess it also, I think what people find even worse is it applies to when people tell me stories about people in their life. Well, they're like, oh, my flatmate's so fucking annoying. Like, they were doing all these things. And I'm like, well, maybe they can just like, you know, I like to make excuses for other people.
I get you. I do that too. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, maybe they're having a bad day.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and they're just like, can't you just say they're a bitch and move on?
Yeah. I compulsively disclose things to people.
Okay.
Like, desperately honest, maybe.
Okay.
Like,
I don't think that's so bad.
No, yeah, I guess that's why it's kind of like, I'm also like
it's a weakness,
making myself,
but a strength. Yeah,
making myself sound good. Yeah, but like, I guess like TMI, bit of a TMI kind of guy.
Yeah, I like that though. I find it difficult to connect with people if they don't tell me their weird inner thoughts.
Sure, but I guess for some people it's like,
so
why the fuck are you telling me that?
I don't know. I'm kind of convinced that those kind of people, maybe they don't know how to have a decent relationship. I don't know.
I don't think it's a toxic trait necessarily.
I think, are we done with the toxic traits?
We can keep going, but that's all I'd written down.
No, that's good.
That's all I've prepared.
Okay. Next question is, what would your therapist say about you?
I really like this question. I actually thought I would reach out to my therapist to like, so it's not even, you know, this is what my therapist is saying about me. This isn't what my therapist might. Yeah.
You know.
We got it straight from the source.
That's really cool. No one's done that before.
But they're such a lovely and sweet person that they turned it into. I knew that they were going to make it a positive about me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, most people do.
Yeah. But I really asked them, like, it's got to be a negative thing. And they still couldn't really do it. Do you want to listen to it?
Oh, you got a voice note?
I've got the voice note,
Yeah, I really do.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Hey, so I'm just seeing this message as I'm about to go into a 5 Rhythms dance class, but I wanted to respond briefly, and this is just like what's coming to me as an initial thought, that you sometimes can be a little sharp and cutting. People who like can't really hang with that sometimes are put off by it, but it's actually a way that you're engaging people and seeing if they can kind of dance with the more uncomfortable things and be able to like engage in like a broader range of emotion and connection. And even though it might seem as a flaw to some people, that if you can actually embrace it and meet it, that there's a lot of fun and a lot of territory to explore in that space.
Sweet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounded very professory.
Yeah, well, they're so smart.
They are, yeah. And also the vocab they use is just so, I don't know, expansive.
They're like my favorite person. I know it's odd, but like my therapist is like my favorite person.
That's nice.
That's so cool.
It's really cool. They did start to say to some people you can come across like sharp and blunt.
That's definitely true. Like, I can be kind of mean. I guess
not
I do
mean, but I think it ties in with what you were saying earlier with you're just honest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big part of it.
and just kind of cutting through the bullshit,
Yeah,
which is what we're really good at, as especially British people.
sure. Yeah.
Because we like love to fluff it up and be like, oh, we're not really saying what we're actually thinking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it would make some people feel uncomfortable, probably.
Yeah. Guess that's why I've got an American therapist.
Yeah.
Can't do the whole
I like
British
the
thing.
voice. I was like, sounds like I'm listening to a TED Talk.
Yeah.
It's soothing. I've never had an American therapist.
I recommend them.
Yeah.
They're good. They're a good breed.
They're a good breed. Yeah. They always feel just, I don't know, their voices to me feel a bit more spiritual. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
I
don't know.
Yeah, I feel like
Spiritual
most
the right
people
word?
would disagree with that. Most people think English people sound more, I guess, like intelligent. and
Yeah.
Maybe not spiritual, but like.
I don't know. I feel like maybe because it's because I listen to a lot of American podcasts.
Yeah. So you, like your go-to voices that you listen to are always American, so
Yeah.
you associate the American
And
with.
a lot of the TED Talks I listen to
Yeah.
are American. So
Yeah.
I feel like I associate it with like a professor.
Yeah, and a kind of
voice.
culturedness.
Yeah.
It's kind of the reverse of what people used to
Almost
think, which is
like
Americans
AI.
are dumb. What?
Like AI.
What do you mean?
It's like a computer talking.
Oh, okay.
That's how I view
So you just think
American
it's
voices.
like-
I think it's like a generated
super
AI, so
smart.
it's so smart. Yeah.
That's funny. Do you want to know a really funny fact before we move on?
Okay.
I've only had I've had 3 therapists, but 2 therapists that I've stuck with for a while. Mm-hmm. And those 2 are both called Danny, and they were both non-binary.
Interesting.
Very weird. One of them was a British non-binary Danny, and one was the American non-binary Danny. It's just weird. It's not intentional. It's
Did they
just-
spell Danny the same?
Yeah, they do.
Weird.
And I was with neither of them. I was not looking for a non-binary therapist.
Yeah.
I know that I've talked a lot about gender, but they were just recommended to me, both of them.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes those things just like align well. I don't know.
Strange. And my childhood best friend was called Danny. So if you're a Danny out there, we probably have some kind of
Yeah.
spiritual connection.
Probably should write in.
Yeah, right in. Any Dannies.
Dannies.
That's my gender, actually, Dannies.
Yeah.
That's my preference.
My preference is anyone called Danny. Through experience, I can comfortably conclude that.
Yeah, for
you.
sure.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we can comfortably conclude, I think, so far.
Danny's are good.
Yeah.
It's almost like instead of a star sign, you have a name preference.
Right. I wonder if people do that. They don't have that as an option on Hinge. You can't filter by name.
Yeah. You can't even pay for that.
No, it's not even Hinge
Maybe they
Premium.
should introduce it, to be fair.
Yeah. To be honest, if I could exclude people with my brother and sister's name,
Yeah.
'cause I always swipe left on them, no matter how great they are.
It's true.
If you could exclude,
Yeah.
for me, Oliver's and Katie's,
Oh.
I would pay a bit for that. Oh shit!
I'm
sorry,
I'm
Katie.
excluded. It's fine.
Well, you're not a Danny though, so
No.
you were
We
already
always-
ruled out.
My brother is a Dan, though. So
Oh, okay.
I find that any Danny, Daniel's a bit of a, ooh.
Yeah,
Not
no, that's
sure.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I've got Joe and Daniel. They're very, very like classic names as well.
difficult, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Yours are very like common names as well.
Yeah, I think I wonder if most people find that to be a problem.
I'd also quite like to turn off any exes' names. That would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I think this should be a paid
This
feature.
should be a
they're
premium feature,
They're
yeah.
missing out on this.
Yeah.
Although I think I'd have no common names left. They're all so common. I've already dated like multiple people with the same name.
Really?
Yeah,
Right.
I've had 3 Toms.
Do you know?
So
there's
many
so
Toms.
many Toms. Yeah, so many.
So many of my friends' partners are also called Tom.
Right. Yeah.
It's so annoying.
There's just so many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too many.
Too many Toms.
I think just our generation, the parents went through a Tom obsession.
It's so boring. If I was like, I'm not saying I'm gonna have like Elon Musk named children.
Yeah.
But like, I'm definitely gonna have some. There's gonna be some interesting names.
I think that's why a lot of like my cousins that have had kids, their names are quite interesting.
Yeah.
Not like crazy. They're still
Just a bit different. Like, it's
Yeah.
your own special, unique child. Why are you naming it after some guy at work? Or some dude that you grew up with?
That's
Like,
the thing. I think
those
most
names are
people try
tainted.
now and find names that they don't know anyone also called that name, which is
Yeah.
quite hard.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
Which is why I think they're getting a bit more unusual. But I do get it. I think, yeah, special child needs a special name.
exactly.
Katie is so boring. I feel bad because my parents always ask me if I like my name.
And you lie to them.
No, I'm honest. I just say it's okay. Like, it is just okay.
Are they still feeling insecure about naming you 28
They were
years
just
later?
like, oh, that's really sad. We really like it. And I was like, obviously you really like it.
there's like
You
100 other
picked
Katies.
it. But yeah, exactly. There's a million of us.
Yeah.
I don't feel like very
Yeah.
excited about my name.
I know
Like,
how you
and I
feel.
think if I had a really unique name, I'd feel a lot more.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd either hate it or I'd really love it. I feel like it could go either way.
Yeah.
But I think most names you grow to like them. Whereas I
What,
just
your own
feel,
name?
Yeah, I just feel quite indifferent about mine.
I feel indifferent about mine.
Yeah.
For a long time when I was younger, I wanted to be called Teddy. I made my MSN email address teddy
Yeah.
blank at hotmail.co.uk.
This is really funny. I wanted to be called Athena.
Athena.
I know, it's really different.
Wow.
I found out my great grandma was Greek, and I was like, and she's called Theodopoulos, and I was like, well, I need to be called
Right.
Athena because that's
This is
so much cooler.
This is similar to me because my middle name is Edward, and it was named after my grandpa Edward, who went by Teddy.
Yeah.
So I thought there was like reasonable.
Teddy's nice,
It's
cute,
cool. It's unique. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
and it's also soft and sweet.
Yeah, and
I love it.
just like me. I'm all those things.
I'm all those things. But yeah, and I really like the name Rose, but that's not as
There's a few roses about
yeah,
that.
it's not as exciting anymore. But when I was younger, I thought it was like the coolest name. You know, when you just get a bit
Yeah.
obsessed.
I remember thinking that like names that start with a J were really cool. When I was really young, I was like, whoa,
That's normally a red flag.
Jason. Is that a red
Yeah,
flag?
it's like,
Names that start with
it's
a
like
J?
a common like meme that like any boy's name that begins with J is toxic.
It makes sense to me now. I mean,
Thinking back, yeah.
it checks out. It checks out. But I used to think J was the coolest letter. you
It's
know?
weird how as kids you think these things. Yeah.
I guess it's like James Bond. Maybe that had a big influence.
Maybe.
Jason Statham. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot actually of
Yeah.
J's.
I was a weird kid.
Let's move on to adventure. You're going to take me on a journey with your stories. We've already been
Okay.
on many journeys. You're going to start with your most comical dating story.
This wasn't hard for me to come up with. I mean,
That's good. I feel like some people really struggle.
well, this particular story is just kind of ridiculous. I'm not actually sure it's a good story. It's just odd and sort of tragic.
Okay.
So, like, I'd seen a guy a couple of times, and we had loose plans to meet up that night. And a friend had asked me to go to a house party of someone I didn't know.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go. And I asked the date if he wanted to come, which is a bit of, I maybe shouldn't have done that because, like,
No, actually, I'm a big advocate of this.
of just, like, bringing people to parties.
Early on, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think it just, if they're not good, it gets them out quick.
Sure, yeah, no, it makes sense. You see them interact with other people.
Yeah, and also if your friends just aren't that sure, like, I feel like if they're your good friends, you're going to trust their judgment.
Sure, yeah.
Like, I trust my friends 1,000,000%. They're going to tell me if they're like, oh, he kind of said some weird things, or like,
Yeah.
do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
They report back.
But this was only one of my friends was going to be at this house party.
Oh, shoot.
I didn't know anybody else there.
Okay.
So I went to this party, but then I ended up going really late. I don't know what I was doing, but, you know, I was just
That's fine.
I was just being me.
Well, you don't know anyone also.
Yeah.
You're not going to arrive first.
And then, yeah, exactly. But by the time I got there, my one friend that I knew had left.
Oh.
So I was at a house party with nobody that I knew, with a date that I'd seen a couple of times on the way.
Yeah, okay.
And it
Wasn't
was-
the best thing to invite them to.
No. And it was like a far more intimate party than I thought it was going to be. There was only like, 25 to 30.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and I was just like there, just like sober, late in the house party stage,
Yeah, not on the same level.
not on the same level, feeling awkward. And then I like texted him being like, don't come, it's just like, it's, yeah,
Lame.
like, bail. And then I left.
Please bail on
Yeah,
me. It's very
yes.
rare you hear
Please
people
don't
say
come.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Who want you to cancel.
But then he was like, well, I'm in Peckham, do you want to just like come hang out there and we'll go to like a bar or something?
Okay,
So like I just left, I went to go see him.
perfect.
Yeah, and then but it was still so late. By the time we got to Peckham, everywhere was closing up.
Oh.
We couldn't find a bar to go and sit at. We went into, I don't know if you know Peckham, but we went to Copeland Park,
No.
industrial sort of area. There's like a few bars and things.
Okay.
But
I
basically,
don't know it.
you like there's like a bunch of buildings and you can only go in through a gate and there's no other way out. And so
right.
we went in through a gate and it's like surrounded by buildings, so you can't get out anywhere. And we looked around, all the bars were closed.
Great.
We were like, okay, let's just bail on this whole thing. This was the worst. And as we went to leave, the gate had locked.
Oh,
Yeah, somebody had locked it behind us. So we were stuck in like an industrial park, just the two of us, after what had already been such a tragic.
what time of year is this? Is it cold? Like, I need some weather.
You need some weather.
Yeah,
No, that
need
makes
to know
sense. You need some colour.
How we're feeling. It's clearly pitch black. Doesn't matter
think-
what time of year it is.
I think it
it's
was
going to be
fairly
dark.
dark. I don't remember, to be honest.
Cold though. Was it cold?
It was somewhat cold, somewhat dark. If you need this for the mystique
I
of the
do, I
story.
just-
It was a rainy day. There was lightning. No, I'm making this up.
No, I just feel like if it's a nice summer's evening,
No,
less bad than if it's like
It
January.
was dark and not pleasant.
Okay.
And yeah, and we were fucking locked in, and he started to freak out. He was like panicking.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I was like calling to people who were walking down the road, like, hey,
Help
do you know
us.
of a way to like open the gate? Is there a way to open the gate from the outside? We're stuck in here. And people were like, huh, just like kind of laughing.
Walking on like
Yeah,
idiots.
because it was like a late on a Saturday night. Some people were like, oh, I can't help you, I'm sorry. And I'm like, it's okay, just go on.
Oh.
And then I started like climbing up buildings to like see if there was a way to like jump down out of the complex. So I was like stood on top of like an offie, like shouting at people like, do you see a way for us to climb down? We were both on like 3% battery as well.
That's
So we were
stressful.
like, we'd only been stuck in there maybe half an hour, but if we don't call the
It's quite
police
long,
now,
to be fair.
yeah, it's quite long. We could have figured it out, but we were like, if we don't call the emergency services now, we're going to not be able to. So we called the fire brigade and they came and started like angle grinding the gate to get us out.
Gosh.
And then the guy with the key came and let us out. And I never saw that guy again.
So his gate's just been chopped up for no
Yeah.
reason.
It was just so tragic.
Oh, that is so tragic.
It was tragic in every way, you know.
I actually do feel like you probably never saw him again because of that situation.
It was just like, yeah. I don't
Like the
know.
whole thing
it was
was
so
a flop.
unromantic.
There was no romance was being created at any point in this evening.
No, it was just a mess. So there you go.
And he got really stressed out.
Yeah,
So-
he wasn't being helpful. He was being completely
To be
useless. I was
fair,
doing all the building scaling.
maybe-
I called the fire brigade.
Maybe it's some sort of weird test to see if someone's compatible with you.
I suppose.
If you could be trapped in a terrible situation and see
Yeah.
how they react.
It's like a reality TV show.
Yeah, because you're never gonna
It's a bit like Married at
want to
First
be
Sight.
with.
You're stuck with them for an
It's a new
extended
show,
period.
locked in.
Locked in Copeland Park.
It'd be funny, just like locking couples in different spaces
Yeah.
and seeing how they react. I reckon could be quite a good show.
For sure. We've come up with a lot of good ideas actually in the
Yeah.
course of this podcast.
It's creative.
Mm.
But yeah, I do think that's a funny story. Like the fact that the fire brigade actually
Yeah.
came.
And they weren't happy about it because they're supposed to be, you know,
Yeah,
saving
on
people from
serious,
flaming buildings.
Yeah, serious
At least
problems.
saving cats from trees. They were doing this. It was-
Yeah, you kind of didn't need saving,
No.
but you did.
We didn't really. It's just like, yeah, we could have waited
could-
a bit longer.
Yeah, but you couldn't have been in there all night.
No, but we just had to call them because our phones were dying, and then we
Yeah.
would have been stuck.
Wait, do you think the person with the key was close by and they heard all the commotion? We're like,
Probably. yeah.
what?
Maybe they did it on purpose,
Maybe.
and they were like, "This is funny."
And then actually when the gate got cut, they were like, not funny anymore.
Yeah, stop. Maybe they were trying to do the reality TV show. They
Yeah.
had set up cameras and everything. I don't know.
It just went, and they hadn't thought it through that people were just going to call the emergency service.
Yeah.
That's one benefit of being in the UK. We don't have to think about the cost of these things, so we're just going to do it if we need to.
True. Do you have to pay for the fire brigade in the US? I don't
I'm
have to pay for an ambulance.
I don't know,
Fucking hell.
actually. I'm not sure about the fire brigade. Maybe.
That would be a nightmare. If
I
there's like
just
a fire
know
in your
that-
house and you're weighing it up, like,
Yeah.
is this worth a
Maybe
grand?
not. I just know that for them, calling an ambulance is like such a big deal.
They probably
Which I
have
think is
like
so
fire
sad.
insurance, I guess. Because you have like health insurance.
Yeah,
fire
maybe
insurance.
it's under like your building insurance. I don't know, but then that wouldn't work. Because if you're calling for like another building that's not yours, they're going to get billed and you're not. I don't know.
I'll ask my therapist.
Yeah, yeah, they'll
See
know.
how it works.
Someone will just be like looking it up online, being like, "These idiots." Okay, next question is: what is the biggest risk you've ever taken?
So, I spent a long time living in monasteries, meditation centers. Straight out of uni, I studied philosophy and then I did a module in Buddhist philosophy and East Asian philosophy, and it was just like very compelling. I was just like, damn, this seems true.
So taken with it, yeah.
Yeah. I just like it really, I studied philosophy because of a lot of like existential questions and confusions and feeling like, growing up somewhat religious and then having that taken away from me and then feeling like there's a hole there. And so like I felt like there was definitely like a spiritual hole in my life to some extent.
Yeah.
And I felt like it really filled that. And I was just like, wow, I feel like I really need to practice this. So I just went and did it for a long time and did like a lot of meditation and
How long's a long time?
I think 4 years.
Oh, that is a long time.
Yeah.
Wow. Wait, so you went to Southeast Asia?
No, actually, I stayed entirely in Western monasteries because I was like,
Ah.
I was really interested in like the overlap between like Western science and rational thought with like, so it's like kind of modern Western Buddhism.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about it just like in a kind of casual way because it was so like, it was a serious part of my life.
Yeah.
It still kind of is.
Yeah.
And like,
Probably shaped a lot of who you are, really.
yeah, I just learned so much, but then also became like sort of disillusioned with it over time to some extent, and that's why now I just have like a normal job in London, and I buy expensive phones and things.
And what is that normal job?
I do creative strategy for the BBC.
Oh, I'd quite like that job, actually.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Can you hire me?
Sure, absolutely, you're hired.
That's really fun. What do you work on? Is it like which TV?
It's online stuff. It's like kind of like it's e-learning. It's like masterclass. It's called BBC Maestro.
Oh, I know it.
Yeah.
I know it. I know the one. It's a bit like mini TED Talks, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
mini
sure.
educational like series.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. So you like find the guests and then plan out the content.
Yeah. Part of my job is finding talent. So we are actually looking for a dating expert right now.
Oh, you know
So
where
you
to
are
find
hired,
one.
maybe. Yeah, we'd quite like to do a course on dating, actually. I feel like that's something that people really want, like how to date successfully and have successful relationships.
Oh, I can talk about that for days. That's really cool. And you enjoy it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fun. It's very fun. It's about as good as a job you could get realistically, is what I often say. Do you know what I mean?
I so understand that. I feel like every job comes with shit.
Yeah.
And there's just ones that are on like the less shit scale. And
Yeah.
And I always think like you're never going to like every aspect of every job, right?
Yeah.
That's impossible, surely.
Yeah, it's a realistic job. It's not like I'm not like a professional. I can't. I'm not a rock star or whatever. I'm not a rapper.
But even they come with shit parts.
True. So I just like did a 180 to
Yeah.
some
Did
extent.
you have like how strict were they on personal items and stuff?
So I was in a few different places. When you're like in retreat, like there's a difference between like just living in the center and working there and meditating a lot and doing your chores and whatever.
Right. Okay.
Versus like when you actually go into retreat and go into intensive meditation sessions.
Okay.
During those intensive sessions, then you don't tend to have books, phones, any kind of entertainment. It's just you.
Yeah.
Usually in like
Your
a cell
thoughts.
and a bedroom. Yeah.
Wow. Gosh, that would be, I think, pretty transformational for most people just to be like stuck with your own thoughts for that long.
Yeah. And I guess, that was I guess that's the riskiest part. It was just like kind of scary. When you do a lot of meditation consecutively, you kind of start to have some strange experiences as well. And like experience new things. Like life starts to look different. And it was just like, it's like existentially risky. It's like risky in the most fundamental way.
Yeah, because it completely changes you.
Yeah. I guess it's relevant to dating in that like I want people to understand that part of me to some extent.
Yeah, definitely.
To at least be like, spiritually
That's
curious.
not something that everyone would do. Or
it's quite a big
has done.
filter because some people are just like, what the fuck was that? You're dumb. You're like religious. It's kind of weird.
So would you? Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. So do you classify yourself as religious now?
I kind of do just to like piss people off a little bit because I find one of my icks is religious intolerance.
Okay. Yeah,
when people are like, they're just like stuck in that like Richard Dawkins kind of atheist phase of life.
That's a lot of people as well.
It's a lot of our age people, yeah. So I kind of say that I'm religious just to be like
I actually
edgy.
don't think I've dated anyone who would say they're even agnostic.
They're always atheist.
Always.
Yeah.
And I'm not, which is...
You'd say you're agnostic?
I normally go for that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really make sense because I do believe in God.
Right, okay. So you're kind of a theist?
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't
Low-key.
really believe that any religion is right, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
which
me
is why I
neither.
normally go for agnostic because I don't believe that like if there is a heaven, they're going to say no because you were that type of religion. I think it's going to be way more of a
100%.
judgment on like who you are as a...
Yeah.
If you're a good person, like...
Yeah.
I think that's... They all boil down to the same things anyway.
Yeah, they really do. And
Like-
that was a big part of the reason why I started to pursue it is because, like, it's kind of a cringe thing to say, but I am spiritual, not religious in reality.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe in any one religion. I just think that Buddhism is a very well-crystallized path to spirituality. Yeah. And I guess as long
Is
as
it
you...
the oldest?
No.
No.
It came after Hinduism.
Okay.
Judaism and Hinduism are largely thought of as the two oldest religions.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess as long as the person is sort of like spiritually curious and not like overly has some kind of humility, it's not just like it's all bullshit,
Yeah, yeah. Or just maybe open to
Yeah.
understanding or...
Open-minded people.
Yeah. I never felt judged, to be fair. Like, no one's ever said to me, like, oh, you can't go to church. That's weird.
Sure. Yeah, I guess it's more just like implicit judgment, not necessarily explicit.
Yeah.
It's just like a vibe of like,
Yeah, I think it's, like, silly.
yeah, that kind of thing. Or not that smart. It's just like not the smart move.
Yes. No, I do. I've felt that from other people being like, almost how can you be naive enough to believe
Yeah.
that?
It's a scientific elitism.
Yeah.
I call it.
I say this to a lot of people when they ask, like, why? And for me, it's a whole thing of, like, why not?
Yeah.
Because I don't see the benefit of being an atheist, where I see a lot of benefit of being religious.
And to me,
What is the benefit of being an atheist?
you get to be like smug.
You
That's
just
the
get to
benefit.
say it. Like,
You get to feel confident about something that you don't know anything
yeah.
about.
But like, I just think praying is quite nice.
Well, I just
Does
think
that
like
make sense?
yeah, for sure,
As
man.
in, like, you're
Praying is
praying for
beautiful.
other people, like, that's really kind.
Yeah,
Like,
that kind of beauty is like lost on regular modern people. You know, that's like with atheism comes like a lack of clear morality, a lack of clear like way of treating other people, just like an undisciplined kind of life.
not believing in anything. I just think it's depressing.
Yeah, I guess also what I was gonna say is that like, I don't believe in God like in like the big man upstairs kind of way.
Yeah.
But to me, like consciousness is kind of God, and I just think that's kind of like patently true. Like none of us have any idea what the fuck is going on. Like
Yeah.
you look around and it's like reality is just bizarre.
It's bizarre.
It's bizarre. It's absurd, and it's like coming out of nowhere, and it's beautiful and completely ununderstandable.
Yeah.
So like, I guess that's the key to it. It's like as long as people feel that way,
Yeah. Even like scientific theories, I find mind blowing.
for sure.
Like gravity, that's crazy.
Yeah,
The
gravity is like
the
a
Big
divine
Bang,
thing.
That's crazy. Like the fact that they think our universe is. I literally, someone told me it the other day. It was like 93 billion light years.
That's
wide.
yeah, that's like not understandable. That's like religious kind of.
Yeah, I mean, like you can't comprehend that. And then
Hmm.
also, I saw a TikTok which was so clever. I was like, how have I never thought of this? And why didn't they say this in physics ever?
Hmm.
If there are aliens out there and they're that far away, they will see us as prehistoric Earth. And if they're that far away,
Because of this
our
speed
solar
of light,
system
you
won't even exist because they won't be able to see it
True.
because they're that far away.
I think I'm going into that space where I'm like, I want to start investigating what you're saying a bit more.
Yeah, I mean,
But it sounds true.
I'm not explaining it well, but basically they did it on the distance that you'd have to be away.
Okay, yeah,
and then it
sure.
showed what Earth would look like from that distance.
Sure.
But obviously, because it's so far away, it kind of like is a bit of a time warp, even though that's really hard for us to like
Sure.
explain.
No, yeah, I get
It's like,
you.
you know, when they say we look at stars and most of them are dead that
Yeah,
we're looking
yeah,
at because
yeah,
they're just
'cause
so
it's
far away.
yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
yeah.
It was like that basically,
Got
but
it,
in
got it.
reverse.
Got it.
And I was like, I can see.
Yeah.
Why has no one told me this? So even if there is other life forms, they can't see us.
Yeah, unless they have some kind of like super
They might have a faster like equipment that can somehow like get
faster
through.
than the speed of light, or like some kind of like, you know,
That's what they'd have to have. They'd have to be so advanced that they could like
like teleportation kind of.
see now. Yeah, they'd have to be able to go 93 billion light years in 1 second. Like that's just crazy.
It is crazy, and that's
crazy.
why I believe in God.
And to conclude, I just think believing in nothing is actually quite.
Yeah,
I just think it's depressing and sad.
and it's just kind of stupid to me because like everything's weird as fuck.
I just think how we live is crazy. Like our whole body is insane.
Yeah, it's so infinitely complex.
Yeah.
The subconscious mind. We don't even
Yeah.
understand our own behaviors. I
And
don't
I
even know the
think-
next word I'm gonna say.
We've really gone off topic.
Yeah.
But I imagine the right person that would want to date you too would want to ask lots of questions and be curious about it and
But I love a good conversation.
not judgy.
Yeah, just like a good conversation, you know. That's all you really need. An open mind.
Yeah, and you can like listen and learn. I
Listen
think
and
that's the
learn.
best thing about other people doing things that you might like. I don't think I would be able to do that, what you've done, but I can still learn from it through you.
Yeah, sure.
It's important. Okay, let's move on to affection. Your question is, what are you weirdly attracted to?
A lot of your guests, I think, have been poor on this one, I've got to say.
Yeah, fair.
Because they're like,
Let's judge them all right
yeah,
now.
let's judge them all. They're like, I'm weirdly attracted
After we're
to...
like, we don't want anyone who's judgy.
No, that sums me up. I need you an open mind and then to absorb all of my opinions. Yeah.
Okay, wait, why do you think they've got it wrong?
Well, it's just like somebody was like, I'm weirdly attracted to people that play sports. I'm like, that's the definition of the word fit. That's the most classic thing. We want somebody who is fit.
Wasn't it amateur sports though? She didn't want you to be so good.
Right, okay. That's a bit better. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough, I apologise. Yes.
I think that's the one you're referring to.
I think it's that one, yeah. And then what else have you had? There was a couple. Do you remember any of your answers that you've had to that? They just none of them just seem that weird. Really.
Sometimes they're body parts like hands, forearms.
Okay, yeah. I think
Which-
that's normal. We're all attracted to bodies. I'm not attracted to ghosts.
Not so much forearms.
I don't know. Good forearm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I prefer a thigh personally.
Yeah.
Or a shoulder.
Fair enough. Okay, maybe this is a better question than I thought it was. Maybe there are like different answers.
There's nuances.
Yeah. I think mine is, and I do think this is genuinely weird, but also quite normal.
Okay.
You know?
Go
Like,
on.
I think this is true for a lot of people, but they don't realize it. Like,
That makes sense.
I'm kind of attracted to myself.
Yeah.
Like, people like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I get what
I
you
want
mean.
people to be kind of similar to me. Maybe it's not
I
that
think
weird.
I think it is a bit weird because some people really want someone that's opposite to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like lots of people say that opposites attract. A lot of successful relationships I know are very different, and that somehow works. I personally don't really understand how it works because I've never dated anyone that polar opposite to me. But maybe that's where I'm going wrong.
Yeah, find somebody find another podcast host. Dating podcast.
No, but then they'd
host.
be the same.
Oh, wait, I thought you wanted
No, I've never dated someone really different.
Oh.
So it'd be like someone who hates public speaking
Oh, okay.
and would never have their own podcast.
You wouldn't have an introvert as a boyfriend, you know?
No.
Okay, yeah. Maybe try it. Give it a go.
But yeah, so you like people that are the same as you.
I guess so.
I think that makes sense. It makes sense to me.
I don't know if I want to take that back now. I shat so much on other people's answers, and now I'm like, that's a shit answer.
You can change it.
I don't know. I love animals, but I'm not
That's
sexually
not
attracted.
weird.
I'm not a furry, but I do love animals. I guess I'll stick with my answer then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weirdly attracted to myself. I'm
Really
hot.
attracted to it. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Let's move on to your bestie rec.
Okay.
I'm excited.
I had two friends compete against each other without them knowing.
Oh, they don't know that you asked.
No.
Yeah.
Well, so I have one of them is I still haven't. I think I'm gonna go with the other one. One of them is two of my friends because they're away together right now.
Oh,
And they
okay.
didn't invite me.
Rude.
So they sent me one, but I think I'm gonna go with my other one, which is from a work friend.
Okay.
It's really good.
It's really good.
It is
I
really
love
good.
it. So you were like, I'm going to pull them all.
Yeah,
and
pick my
whoever gives
favourite.
the best one.
At one point, I considered just doing like an AI voice and just typing in like is so cool and so amazing.
I would have definitely known it was an AI voice.
I could have done it in like a celebrity's voice as well. So it's like, oh wow, he's friends with Denzel Washington.
The thing is with AI is it's still not good enough. It's not quite there.
Not quite, but there are
It's
some
close.
Yeah.
It's getting better. Like I've had some really realistic ones, but you can
Voices, you
still, yeah. It's almost like because the breathing's not there.
some of the cadences are just a bit
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
I don't know. And also I'd be able to tell the quality would be too good.
Yeah.
I have a friend I met through work who has brought so much light into my life without even trying. He's very smart and funny. When I laugh with him, I genuinely feel like we enter a different universe. And he has that type of humour that you can kind of never predict where it's going to go, which I think is just such an asset these days. And like many a man I know, he's actually quite a great listener. He is probably the only person I know who wants to hear everyone's opinion, even the quietest person in the room. And once you get to know him, he makes you feel very comfortable being yourself, which also these days is quite hard to find, I appreciate. He's uber creative. He's got a great moral compass and a very good heart. And I think anyone would be lucky enough for him to share that with.
That's really nice.
It's quite a glowing recommendation.
Yeah, I'd love someone to say that about me, that when they laugh with me, they feel like they're transported into another universe.
I know, it's a bit much actually. She needs to tone it down a bit.
I thought it was lovely. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make it my life's mission for someone to say that about me.
I'm sure people feel that way. That's why, I was going to say millions of people listen to your voice, but we're not there yet.
Millions, yeah.
Around the globe.
This is why millions listen globally.
Yeah.
That's really sweet, though.
It was nice. You can see why it won the competition.
Yeah, it won. The other one was just like, yeah, he's all right.
He's a good bloke.
Not quite. I feel like I'm in another universe
Yeah.
when I laugh with him.
Yeah. Rolling in ecstasy.
I feel like she did capture you well, though.
Oh, that's kind.
Because it was like, I also got the vibe that it was, you are unique and unique to her and your friendship. Do you know what I mean? Which I think covers it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's nice. I got 2 in 1 there. One from you.
Well, for me, it wasn't quite as glowing as transported into
I'll
another
take it.
universe.
I'll take
but
it.
yeah, I think if someone dates you, they're not going to date anyone else like you, which is quite nice.
I don't want to say that myself, but I definitely agree.
Oh my God, my cat's obsessed with you.
Good
Are you going
vibes.
to jump on his lap? You don't even care about me anymore. See, this is good vibes.
This is good vibes. Animals like me.
The listeners need to know that Billy's obsessed. Okay, let's do the summary.
Okay.
What
yeah.
we're feeling.
I don't know. I think I'm looking for someone. I think the best sell is that I'm looking for someone to like grow with. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like really interested in like just like getting
development.
well, just getting better and
Yeah.
being better and learning how to connect with people more deeply. Deep connection is what I'm interested in, and someone who's willing to work on that with me and like knows that it's like, you know, like spiritual work, I guess, without being too wanky about it. Is that an okay
Yeah, I
answer?
think we can wrap that up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. This was very fun.
So if you want to be transported into another universe when you laugh with this person, you know what to do. You need to write in to the podcast on Instagram @SingleSounds or email singlesoundspodcast@gmail.com to get his details, and you can set up a date. Thanks so much for listening as always, and I'll see you back here next Tuesday, but don't forget to buy your tickets to the Valentine's Day live show. Thanks, love you, bye.